Water. For some, it is the most precious commodity because they have too little of it and have to cope with severe drought. For others, it is a deceptive enemy because they face too much of it and need to deal with subsequent floods. Water pollution is also a coexisting problem, causing health issues across many countries. To overcome these challenges is not an easy task. That's why the Dutch water authorities, the Dutch Ministry of Infrastructure and Water Management, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs set up the Blue Deal program as part of their international water ambitions. The Blue Deal program has the objective to help 20 million people around the world to gain access to clean, sufficient, and safe water by the year 2030. Blue Deal offers the regional water authorities and ministries the opportunity to support regional and national governments in other countries with more resources than are currently available, and for a longer period. Not like an investor or project developer, but as a partner that helps find solutions, particularly regarding water governance, where the Dutch are leaders in the industry. Blue Deal has three main goals: clean water, sufficient water, and flood prevention. Clean water is a huge challenge. Water scarcity, poor water quality, and inadequate sanitation are causing millions of deaths every year. The Blue Deal partners want to reduce the discharge of untreated industrial effluent, improve the processing of household effluent, and advance the quality of ecosystems. In Ethiopia, clean water is extremely scarce. The population is growing rapidly and water sanitation is almost non-existent.
So many industries at this site, they are dumping their industrial wastes into the river, which is highly affected health of people using the river, who are relying on the river for drinking water and for drinking or watering their livestock.
The main goal of the Blue Deal partnership in Ethiopia is to prioritize the sanitation of wastewater. With help from the World Bank, the Ethiopian partners are going to build a number of sewage treatment plants. With the Blue Deal, the Dutch water authorities make sure that these plants are maintained properly so that water quality can be ensured for the long term.
We can contribute to organize it in a good way. And what we are going to do is we try to help them to organize it by giving trainings on for example, awareness, on contract management, on operating and maintenance of wastewater treatment, workshops on planning, on design and construct of treatment plants.
8 wastewater treatment plants have already been built in Mali, but they do not function well and are not properly managed. The main focus of this Blue Deal partnership is to improve the operations at the plants by supporting and strengthening Angesem, the responsible operator. The treatment plant in Bamako was designed to filter sewage, but instead now only processes industrial waste. The treatment plant therefore does not function as it should. Sewage is dumped into the river, some remote wasteland, or used in agriculture. All of these practices are dangerous to the environment and public health. Together with Angesem, the Dutch water professionals are working to change this situation.
So the Blue Deal is very important for our partnership with Angesem because it gives us a very wide and long horizon. The Blue Deal is a program till 2030, which means that we can partner with Angesem for 12 years. And the Blue Deal program is about strengthening local capacity. And we believe that strengthening local capacity is the only way to create a sustainable organization and a sustainable situation for water management and wastewater management in Mali. And with the Blue Deal, we can hugely contribute to that.
Blue Deal, c'est un partenariat qui est là pour nous aider, qui est dans le même sens pour atteindre nos objectifs. Si on a la création des stations, il faut au moins le renforcement de capacité, l'encadrement, aider la nouvelle structure à pouvoir avec les agents de la structure pour mieux connaître la gestion des eaux. Je crois que Blue Deal, eux, leur objectif, c'est de pouvoir gérer ces problèmes en général avec nous.
Sanitation is of course important, but pollution is another significant aspect threatening clean water. Groundwater is also being polluted. One example in Ghana is the waste from gold mines that create huge problems in the water system.
Yes, I think mining, and especially gold mining, is a big problem in Ghana. There are of course a lot of legal mines, good arranged, and they pay for polluting the water and taking water. But the galamsey, as it's called here, the illegal mining of gold, is getting more and more overhand. So people are doing that a lot, and that's really a problem for the clean water, for the quality of water, because mercury and cyanide and other heavy metals get into the water. The cattle gets sick, and people get sick. So that's a real problem for the quality of water. So that's something that should have been do something about.
In the coming 12 years, Blue Deal wants to initiate an integrated approach to prevent this pollution, introducing other ways of mining that will create less pollution than currently. In many countries, the division of water is a big issue. In some places, there is far too much water, while other regions are dealing with drought. Sufficient water for everyone is the second goal of the Blue Deal.
I'm sitting here on a dam, and these structures are applied in Burkina Faso to retain the water, to collect the water in the rainy season, and to have a buffer so you can use it in the dry season for irrigation, for the production of drinking water. In Burkina Faso there are over 1,000 dams, and most of the dams were constructed in the 80s by donor aid. And now 30 years later you see that a lot of dams are in a really bad state. There's a lot of maintenance that needs to be done. And as part of the Blue Deal program we develop training modules on how to maintain dams, and we also help to establish local water committees, which are the local representatives of the water authorities who carry out the actional maintenance. So they go into the field, they repair the dams, they talk with agricultures about best practices, what they should do, what they cannot do.
The local water agencies, they are in the first stadium, and I think in 10-12 years they will be full grown, and that gives also a durable existence to the regional water authorities here in Burkina Faso. When you work with them for 10 years, they can do the work better to become really water agencies, independent of all the foreigners, all the projects, all the kind of that stuff.
On a l'habitude de dire s'il n'y avait pas le Blue Deal, il fallait qu'il y ait le Blue Deal. Parce que nous savons que la Hollande a une expérience avérée et confirmée en matière d'hydraulique. Ça se voit, c'est un pays qui vit dans l'eau. Le Burkina a le même problème, mais à l'inverse, c'est un pays où il n'y a pas d'eau. Et nous pensons qu'on peut collaborer ensemble.
Climate change is triggering more extreme weather. In Colombia, Blue Deal is helping its partners adapt to these changing circumstances.
Colombia always has had enough water, too much water. It's a very rich country in water. But nowadays they see years where there is, well, not shortage, but maybe shortage in a short time. And even with climate change coming, well, they really fear that in some time maybe they won't have enough. A lot of organizations in Colombia have some fear to execute projects. So they continue in studying and even more studying, or they think, well, maybe it's their responsibility and not ours. So that makes that there is in fact a lack of implementation power. We think that our experience and our ideas about how to execute projects and measures, that it may be inspiring for them to hear about this. And that's what Blue Deal in fact is doing, interchanging experiences, knowledges, and with the idea that it will inspire our Colombian partners to make themselves better water authorities in fact.
Para nosotros es muy importante esta cooperación, ya que en Colombia nunca se había visto que existiese un tipo de cooperación de esta magnitud, sobre todo en transferencia tecnológica, intercambio de saberes, y ya que Holanda tiene todo el criterio técnico y para poder abordar un tema tan complejo como es el desorden territorial, lo denomino yo, de nuestro sistema hídrico, esperamos que en ellos nos orienten mejor y que se creen políticas que vayan más en pro de direccionar, de hacer ordenamiento sobre el agua y no desde el suelo.
What I like especially about Blue Deal is that it's not just a point, just a year that we're working, but now we have the perspective to work together for, well, maybe till 2030, and it's incredible. And not about bothering about how to find the money, how to find acceptance. No, we know that the idea is that we will work together for a long time. And this is important because making management policies in the organization better and stronger, that's not something you do from one day to another. That's something that takes a lot of time. So we can be friends and partners for a lot of time. That's really a good idea.
Another one of the 3 goals of Blue Deal is flood prevention. In Argentina, there are lots of floods occurring in the province of Buenos Aires. In all the Blue Deal partnerships, the primary focus is to establish successful water governance. In Argentina, the Dutch water authorities and local partners aim to achieve cooperation between stakeholders to limit the damage being caused by flooding.
Los problemas hídricos que nos enfrentamos los productores en esta región es realmente la salinidad y el estar bajo el mar, porque lamentablemente si esto no se soluciona en corto tiempo vamos a quedar todos bajo agua. Entonces, si no podemos hacer una gobernanza del agua, vamos a andar muy mal. Así que sí es fundamental y agradezco muchísimo a Holanda que está teniendo esta participación acá en la Argentina, que son los genios del manejo del agua.
In Argentina, the most urgent problem is how to manage flooding. The country is too huge to contain the flooding like we do in the Netherlands. But you want to go on with life. You want your villages to be accessible, and you want still to have agricultural production and to be able to export it. So I think if you have to choose now, all the effort could be focused in flood prevention, and but most important of all, there are no good measures if you cannot maintain them and that you cannot operate them. So this is real crucial for Argentina at this moment to improve their water governance. All the organizations that have to deal with water have to do it hand in hand with the stakeholders and with other public administrations. So we are working together with the province, the municipalities and other organizations, and also a national park, to try to make a local organization similar to our water boards, with participation from all the actors, and where all the actors contribute to solve the problems in kind but also financially.
In Burkina Faso, it is possible to see the work that has been put in place for flood prevention.
This moment is very dry, but during the raining season, the water will come very fast because we are very in the low profile here in this sub-basin. You see, this structure can permit us to track the sun and then to keep the sun behind the water reservoir here. Even that, if the sun comes a lot in the barrage, it causes the loss of the water capacity storage, and then it can cause flooding close to this area that you can see. So with the Blue Deal program, we are now looking how we can track the sand and against flooding. That's about the water security in Blue Deal program.
Blue Deal aims high and thrives on ambition. This is also true for the countries and local partners they work with, as well as for the Dutch water professionals who are involved in these partnerships.
You are here alone. There's nobody you can ask. You have to make a decision. Sometimes it is warm. You don't have a good connection. You learn to work on a very different condition.
Sometimes when we are evaluating a working week with people, specialists who were there, we think, oh, we don't understand what they catch from us, but oh, we learned so much from them. We have so much ideas now to bring back to our work in the Netherlands.
You get far more flexible, you know, at the end of the day the things get good and you don't worry about when something is not exactly as you thought it was. We are, of course, in Holland used to program everything 20 years ahead, but you can't program everything. So I think that's something I learned in the work in Ghana and Burkina.
In the Netherlands, everything is already arranged, and there you can start from zero. So for me, this is great to do.
2030, who knows what the world will look like by then? But Blue Deal's objectives are clear: to deliver clean and sufficient water in a water-safe environment for 20 million people. That is quite a task. But we think it's doable, with all the enthusiasm and goodwill from our local partners, together with the dedication of our Dutch water professionals. So let's go for it.